Hello everyone, I'm Keenan47, aka Wolfkeen. Welcome to the Wolf Podcast, where we'll be talking about the 13th episode of Persona 5 the animation, Dreams and Desires. With me today is...
Hello everyone, I am Demon Communist DM.3000.
Hey everyone, this is FlOrangey.
Hey everyone, this is Mario Fanboy 15, aka that guy who's still watching the episode.
Why are you still watching the episode while we're recording it? Why
Okay, seriously?
Why didn't you
can
say anything?
I can multitask.
Oh, sure.
Dude, we're starting it now, you freaking dingus!
Zach, why didn't you just say something before?
I did.
No, you didn't!
How much of the
Jack's
episode
still
do you have?
watching the episode. My microphone stand is broken, so it's literally lying on its side right now. And we just started our podcast.
Oh, man.
Is there anything else that's going wrong right now today?
Besides...
Well, this is unlucky number 13.
And besides it being hot as hell where I live, I don't know. But anyways, before we get things started, any kind of comparisons that we make to the game and animation are done for analytical reasons. And to give a synopsis of the episode, this is pretty much following on Yusuke's confidency from the game, except it's far more expanded because we actually get to... Well, here's the thing. Ren helps Akechi with a case that's connected to the guy that is consistently egging Yusuke on throughout the entirety of the episode. And we all kind of came to the same conclusion with that. Holy shit, was that a deviation.
This is probably the most deviation an episode has had.
In terms of like adding something that was genuinely, officially new in comparison with what the actual game had, then yeah, it's definitely a total surprise.
God fucking damn it, anime. How dare you make me like Akechi for 22 minutes?
Yeah, I hate this episode now. Yeah, fuck this episode.
And the sad part is, this is what I wanted. This is what I wanted from Akechi when it came to the games, but I will get into that in the comparisons and differences, because I really feel like that's something that needs to be said over there.
Yeah, I think the bulk of our talk is definitely going to be in the comparisons and differences, totally.
Are we going to have a spoiler tag on this podcast or not?
We may very well. It won't be long though, so I will.
Okay.
I will warn people after we're done with the is this a good episode for fans and casual watchers? We are going to go into a bit of a spoiler area, but no worries. I will put a timestamp so y'all can avoid it. Whoever hasn't played the game or doesn't want to be spoiled on the animation, if they possibly cover what we want to talk about. So,
Okay, that's fair.
So
Mhm.
Because
anyway,
I kind of feel like with what was changed or added to this episode, it's going to be hard to talk about without spoiling something.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So anyways, let us move into our general thoughts. So, Dean?
Okay, so this episode I was genuinely curious about because, unlike all of you, I unfortunately wasn't able to complete Yusuke's confidant by the end.
I didn't complete
How
it
dare
either.
you.
I didn't complete it either. I watched someone else do it.
Yeah.
Let's.
Shut up. But yeah, I got to rank 9, so I didn't know exactly on how this this whole confidant actually ended. And speaking about that, it actually ended quite kind of sweetly, and I hope that it's actually accurate to the game. Is it accurate?
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
All right, yeah, that's cool. The thing is about this.
Well,
What?
yeah, as I say, it is accurate, but which is a major exception.
Yeah, which is that,
Yes, I know.
yeah, which is that deviation, but yes, it is accurate to the game, which just to say it very quickly, Yusuke tries to capture the human heart with a painting. This guy criticizes him pretty harshly, but he does it with an intent. Even egging Yusuke on, saying, "Oh, I would love to help you out. The idea of a former pupil of Madarame, it would sell the idea." And he just continuously egged Yusuke on while Yusuke suffered his slump till the very end when Yusuke finally found the inspiration he was looking for. The guy literally said it in the game that, "Oh, I did that intentionally to motivate you." And he does apologize for it.
To make sure that he doesn't end up similar to Madarame, because they were formerly friends, but they had a falling out because they had major differences in their perspectives.
Exactly. And yeah, that little scene where he was talking about that Madarame was looking around desperately for medicine for a child, that was in the game as well.
Yeah, that was in the game. Honestly, Yusuke's confidant is probably the reason why Madarame is probably one of my favorite bosses in the game.
Yeah, because because Madarame, before he became so distorted, you could kind of tell he did care for Yusuke.
Yeah, it's like he genuinely cared for the kid and just wanted to do so. While a lot of the other things that just sort of happened were either secretly under some underlying intent, or he genuinely thought he was doing this for some other's benefit. But again, with distorted desires being the end result of it.
Exactly.
And that is a very realistic way of interpreting things, because sometimes your good intentions can turn into something that essentially makes you look out worse. See something like Breaking Bad, for instance. But as for my opinion of the episode, like, I was looking forward to this because I did enjoy Yusuke's confidant, even though I only made it to rank 9. But it was very nice to see, and they did hit a lot of the key scenes here and there. Some lines were unfortunately missing here and there, like love comes in all forms. I miss that so much, honestly. They had the scene. They showed them on the boat. But unfortunately, they didn't talk with the couple, so...
We got the church scene.
We got the church scene.
We got the church scene, yes. We got the church scene.
And they made it better.
Yes. He just leaving, like, I'm leaving this place.
I guess we were wrong about one thing. We thought it would combine 2 existing confidants, but instead focus on one, which I'm fine with.
Well,
focuses on one, well, sort of 2.
Well, sort of 2. I mean, it is, like, you know, Akechi in the game is a confidancy, but again, we'll get into that in comparisons of differences.
Yeah, because that difference, man, that caught me by total surprise, because everyone knows, if you've been keeping up with this podcast, and how, like, pretty much all of us has, like, this sort of disdain towards Akechi. And in this episode, they showed a lot of him, but very reasonably so, and actually got me to like the kid. A lot more than what 80 hours worth of gameplay in Persona 5 ever managed to do.
Exactly. You beat that game in 80 hours?
Okay, 105. Shut up.
Anyways, anything else you wanted to add, Dean?
No. We're definitely going to have a talk in the next part of this, definitely.
All right, Cole?
I went to church.
Wait, you're up to there?
Dude, stop watching the episode.
You can't stop me.
Yusuke took Ren to church, and now I have Hosier's song stuck in my head.
God damn it.
You're welcome.
Anyways, Cole, you're up.
Okay, fuck this episode. Next.
Yeah, how dare they make us like Akechi?
Okay, in all seriousness, this is actually probably my favorite episode in the anime so far.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And a lot of it basically just has to do with the handling of Akechi. And the one thing that I was genuinely surprised by, because I was always wondering how they're going to handle Akechi in this anime, I did not expect the idea that they would take Yusuke's confidant and use it as a springboard to start really showing Akechi and Ren's relationship. And I have to be honest and say that all the investigation stuff for me was absolutely fascinating.
Oh, yeah. Like, it was actually, like, doing some detective work, how they're actually, like, snooping around and trying to determine things. Especially leading up to the end and how they caught the guy.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I also have to admit that one thing that genuinely surprised me while I was watching it, I was almost expecting, like, during one of the trips that Ren takes with Yusuke to Mementos, I was almost expecting them to take a detour to try and figure out the problem, but they did not, and I absolutely love that.
You mean, like, take on his shadow or something?
Or, like how in Mementos you can find people's shadows. I was almost expecting that they would solve the problem by enacting some kind of change of heart with the actual villain.
Oh, yeah, that was actually handled, like, extremely cleverly, because the way that Ren actually does handle things is without using mementos, but rather with clever talking as well as just snooping around, similar to regular detective work, and keeping things, I guess, above the law.
Yeah, because
exactly. Like, I was almost expecting them to do the whole, oh, let's use mementos to solve our problem. It's like, nope, they did not, and I am very impressed.
And it works because it allows Ren to still follow the ideology of the Phantom Thieves, but still allow this guy to be caught by Akechi, who was also following his own idea of justice.
Exactly.
Like, while he doesn't agree with the Phantom Thieves, he does have a lofty goal of justice, and that's agreeable.
Yeah, they both have like they both have like different ways of doing things, but they still follow the same ideology, which is seeking justice for those who deserve it.
Exactly, and punishing those that have to and that need to be.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Is there anything else you want to add, Cole?
Not really, because this episode mostly hit most of the bullet points regarding Yusuke's confidant. Though for some reason I'm a little bit disappointed we didn't have them returning to Madarame's former home. But I think that's probably because they have the proper introduction to what's his name, Kawanabe?
Yeah.
Yeah, at the exhibit instead.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, they do, and I do like that. After the exhibit is said and done, he does go to speak to Yusuke and invites him and Ren to sushi. Like, that's done almost immediately, which is good. That's a difference.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying. Fuck.
I'm sorry to bring this up, but guys, is it me or is Nelson starting to sound like a robot?
Am I?
A little bit.
I'm thinking.
Yeah, you're starting to cut out.
Oh.
Yeah, I thought that was on my end, but it seems to be on Nelson's end.
Oh boy. Well, it's not coming in through the thing, so give me 2 seconds, everyone. Sorry about that, people. My internet's giving me a hard time right now. But anyways, Cole, you were still giving your thoughts on the episode.
Yeah, oh goodness gracious. I don't even know where I left off, but there is one thing that I do want to say. Well, 2 things. First, in my opinion, Yusuke's painting is ugly, but I'm not a big fan of abstract artwork. The second, though, is that I actually kind of wish the stinger for this episode was actually shown before the credits, simply because it ties everything together so well, but also because it foreshadows something that I can't actually say at the moment.
Oh, you mean the talk in the end, right?
Yeah, the talk in the end while they're playing chess.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, which we'll probably have to say that at the spoiler parts.
Because it's like, I was re-watching it the first time I was like, oh, this is such a good stinger. The second time I was like, if I ended at the credits line, I would miss this scene, and it's absolutely important to the story, arguably.
Yeah.
Pretty much. Yeah, pretty much. Anyways.
So, overall, that's my thoughts. Good episode. Probably my favorite episode. Can I go back to hating Akechi now, please?
No.
No, next episode they're going to tie it somehow to the next confidant they're going over.
I wouldn't be surprised. Anyways, Zachary, your thoughts?
Actually, yeah, that would make sense.
Yeah,
Well, first thing I want to say, good job, Ren. You hit a home run.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Which I
Congrats,
never
Ren.
did.
You got an achievement.
I got a home
never
run.
did.
Wait, since we had cheat codes on in the last episode, shouldn't achievements be disabled?
Oh.
Stop it. Get some help.
I will not stop.
No, we shouldn't see anything. Recording is blocked.
Ow. Yeah, exactly. Thanks, Atlas.
Ooh.
Oh my god.
Right. What was I gonna say? Right. There's one thing I didn't expect from this episode. I totally wasn't expecting. I totally wasn't expecting this guy to end up actually being the bad guy. A character who we saw in a game but didn't really say anything. It's like, oh, this guy's
right,
actually...
his assistant.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah.
I don't think he was ever name dropped even. He shows up, but that's about it.
Yeah, he was never name dropped in the game, if I'm not mistaken, but in the anime they give him a prolific role, and that's interesting.
Yeah, that was very interesting, and I'm actually so glad now that Zach mentions it that they didn't villainize Kawanabe.
Yeah.
When I was watching the episode, I was extremely worried they were going to do that.
Yeah, that would have diluted Yusuke's confidant, honestly.
Yeah, it would have.
Yeah.
But instead, it kind of helped it, so it worked out in the end.
Are you done watching the episode, by the way, Zach?
Yes, I am.
Finally.
I know, right?
Oh, right. I remember now. I know we talked about the church scene earlier, but I have to say this: anguish. Anguish.
Anguish. You need.
Please stop.
No. I totally wish the anime. Though I totally wish Ren in the anime said, "Do you want me to strip?"
Oh, yes.
That
You're
would have been
right.
perfect.
That would have been so perfect. That would have been a perfect end scene.
Or if he was doing that while he was posing, it would just say, "Do you want me to strip too?"
Oh, what if Hifumi walked in on that during that moment?
No, I'm pretty sure that would have been the moment she'd walk out.
Yeah.
I could just totally imagine the next time Hifumi shows up, I could totally imagine her talking to Ren and being like, "So why were you two acting that way at the church?"
Oh, I could probably just tell. It's like as soon as we see Hifumi again, she's just gonna be like, "Don't I know you from somewhere? Oh yeah, you were that guy who posed awkwardly in the church."
Oh my god.
Oh, yes, you were that guy who stripped in the church.
Stop it, Cole.
No.
Cole, I'm sure Hifumi would have no objections to that.
Both of y'all, stop it.
Are you sure
Shipping goggles
Hifumi? I'm sure
on.
Makoto would like it.
Oh my
Goggles
god.
on now.
Stop it, both of you. Get some help.
No.
No.
Yeah,
Stop
you're
it.
slowly killing me.
Oh, no.
Oh my god. Anything
Please
else?
tell me one of you guys knows CPR.
I was gonna
How do
learn
I
it.
give it to myself?
What? What?
What?
How do you give yourself CPR?
That's why I said I was slowly dying.
Oh my god. Is there anything else you wanted to add, Zach?
Yes. One thing I do want to add. It was brief, but seemed like they gave a hint at the beginning after the theme. They gave like a hint at Mishima's confidants for later on.
Oh, yeah, that's right, they did.
They kind of do, yeah. They kind of do, yeah, because he is he's pretty much talking about how the Phantom Thieves are starting to become more and more famous, and they are. Like, after the Junior Kaneshiro situation, now the Phantom Thieves are known as people who are capable of basically changing the hearts of criminals that not even the police can get to.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, and Ryuji is starting to turn into a main storyline game Ryuji.
Oh yeah, because he was just like, "Oh Yahoo! We made what was it? A big wave? Was it?"
Yeah. I wanted to say. I totally found that funny. I mean, she's just like, "Yeah, making the big wave," and then Ryuji says that, and Morgana's just like, "Not you too."
Well, they're both idiots, so I guess it fits.
Yeah.
Cool. I think unfortunately we're at the point where Ryuji's gonna be main game Ryuji now.
Oh god.
I was expecting it, and I'm more and more convinced that because of that, that Ryuji's confidant is designed to be finished really early.
But then again,
Yeah,
I'm kind of okay with this because it makes sense for Ryuji to be a bit stubborn and otherwise, but still have some degree of a level head during the beginning, and then that starts to go out the window later.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because he's getting confident. That's the thing.
Confident to the point that he's starting to become cocky.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
His desires are becoming distorted.
Yeah. But hey, don't you know, Cole? Persona users can't have palaces.
Get rid of his persona, make it a shadow again. Problem solved.
Oh.
Persona 4, the animation's final episode begs to differ.
Uh,
We'll get to that nonsense when we get to Persona 4, the animation. I can tell Dean now wants to hurt me.
I'm just gonna say this: if Ren ever had a palace, it would just be like full of women or something.
What?
What?
Yeah, because if Ren does the harem route, you know, his powers would be full of women.
Okay.
Yeah, if he does the harem route.
Yeah,
Okay.
which I don't think this Ren will.
Before this goes completely out of control, Zachary, is there anything else you want to add?
Strip.
You're an idiot. Because so many people, I hate that word now, because when I was watching Shenpai play the game, every single time Yusuke appeared on screen, someone would donate $1 to her, and every single time the voice line would say, strip.
No, strip.
God damn it. Anyways, I'm gonna give my...
You're welcome.
Anyways, my thoughts and opinions on the episode. The one thing I really liked about this episode that they really showed off pretty well is how Yusuke is becoming more and more visibly frustrated with himself due to the slump.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Oh yeah.
Like, we see him in the classroom, just not able to think of a thing, and hell, even breaking his pencil at one point, like not being able to think of something to draw again at the, I think that's the river area. I forgot what area. Is it Inokashira?
Inokashira Park.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was where it was.
Yeah, Inokashira Park. Thank you. No, it was Seaside thing. Oh no,
Wait,
was it Inokashira? I don't know. I don't fucking know. But you
When
get the point.
where the couple is.
Well, yeah, that's in Inokashira Park. I'm talking about when he's trying to draw at night. I think he's at the Seaside. That place, that bridge place. I forgot where it was, but you know what I'm talking about.
Oh yeah, I think that is Seaside Park. I think you're right.
Yeah, Seaside Park.
Well, watch people in the comments. Watch all the comments be totally correcting us.
Like, I can remember every vacation spot that's in there.
No,
Tokyo is friggin' huge.
It's
really-
too big.
it really is. It really is. But yeah, I do like that we get to see Yusuke becoming more and more visibly frustrated as it goes on, and I just love the way that they continuously capitalize on the guy just goading Yusuke on, getting him more and more angry. Because it's like, yeah, Yusuke kind of falls into a bad place at one point, but after, you know, talking with like An and Ryuji, or at least like what Ryuji said at one point, like pretty much talk about the idea that desires aren't bad, it's what you do with them.
Yep.
Oh, and that line is so absolutely important. It is absolutely important. I love that line.
Yeah, because it's true. Go ahead, Dean.
It's a meaningful message. That's essentially what I was going to say.
Exactly. Even telling him that the Sayuri itself, like, he sees innocence, but An sees something else. Like, that's, and like, you know, basically telling him that's art in a nutshell. It's basically interpretation. You have to, like, everyone's interpretation of something is going to be different, and you can't, like, try to force someone to have the same interpretation.
Yeah,
it's kind of like cognition or something.
Gee, how about that?
But yeah, I really like the fact they went with that, and yeah, the Akechi stuff is something that I was honestly, I said this before, which I still haven't edited and uploaded the video. I really need to upload that Persona 5 review me and you did, Dean.
Oh yeah, how's that going?
I never even touched it, so I gotta get back to it. But
you lazy fuck.
I know, but anyways, that actually does transition us into the differences and comparisons, and not to give any kind of spoilers away on this one, but when it comes to Akechi in terms of the game, we don't really get to hang out with him as is implied in the animation. In the game, his confidency is increased through story, just by progressing the story and just meeting him at different points. Now, he does come around to, like, the cafe every now and again, but there's nothing that comes from that. Whereas
unfortunately, that's the only time you can talk to him, like, in free roam.
Whereas here in the animation, Ren and Akechi do know each other already, and hell, Akechi sees Ren as, like someone with a far different mindset compared to him, but one that he could probably work with.
Yeah, because they both have a sense of justice.
That just made me thought of something else. And when Akechi says, "Oh, chess," it's like, it's a little bit of, it's a little bit like shogi. Yeah, that makes me wonder. Do you think they'll bring up the shogi thing again later when Ren eventually talks with Hifumi? Since
They
he
probably
played
will.
chess?
They probably will. They probably will, quite honestly. But basically, yeah. And I do like that the chess game is sort of like an allegory on things, like the difference in like knowledge and know-how.
Mm-hmm.
Because the chess game is small, like, it seems like a small thing, but of course Ren has no real knowledge of it, and Akechi has pretty much everything he needs to know. But by the end of the episode, Ren now has enough knowledge to actually beat Akechi.
Mm-hmm.
Which shows like a nice little allegory of him, being like gathering the information that he needed from the games that he played to now being able to, actually beat the opponent that's been beating him.
Oh man! And Ren just showed how smart he was. I mean, it was pretty simple actually.
Yeah, it just takes some practice. Chess is complicated, but it's not too complicated to the point that it's undoable. But
No. I mean, Ren was just like, it's pretty simple actually. Uncovering who the main bad guy.
Yeah, well, again, it's like chess. Sometimes the simplest moves are the best to take.
Yep.
But that's what I'm trying to say. It's like, I do like that, because I've said this to Dean. I always wanted this like an actual confidant with Akechi, and it seems like the animation is giving us that with this first episode. And I'm curious to see what other episodes they're going to involve Akechi and Ren communicating with each other. Because it wasn't just them talking about, like, it wasn't just them doing the investigation either. I mean, they were playing chess, they went to the batting cages. They were talking...
Akechi want Ren to be his partner.
I mean, like I said, yes, they were talking about, Akechi was mainly talking about cases that he was doing and shit, but they were still, like, doing casual stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, kind of like a confidant. You're hanging out with your friend. That makes a lot more sense to me than just like, oh yeah, I'm just lamenting over my drink.
I'm just lamenting over my drink about insert thing that can't be said here due to spoilers.
Break up.
But
you two just fuck already.
Ew, no.
God damn it, Zach!
God damn it, Zach.
Yeah,
Disgusting.
go fuck yourself.
Yeah,
Oh.
everyone knows Ren belongs with Yusuke.
Yeah,
Oh.
totally. That I approve of.
It'll be a big threesome.
Will you stop it?
No! No!
Just stop it!
Go away. Just go to that corner and stay there.
Yes, it's fucking go to the corner.
I'm going to break all of you.
I'm gonna hit you over the head with a spoon. I swear to God.
Zach,
What?
your child's play compared to what I've done here.
Oh.
Oh, but
Is that a challenge?
guys, come on.
Fight me. Fight me, fam.
Oh my.
This is probably why Nelson is here.
Exactly.
Otherwise, you and I wouldn't shut up, and Dean would be down on the floor from laughter.
Exactly. But the sad part is this. That is the one difference in this entire episode, honestly. The addition of Akechi, because it does, like, here's the thing. Yusuke's confidency doesn't change all that much, like, with Akechi's, like, inclusion. The only thing that's really added is Akechi's inclusion and the idea that Kawanabe was embezzling money.
Yeah.
Yeah. The other difference that I would say just appeared is just some scenes have been taken out. The one big one, and we mentioned this earlier, is that we don't go back to Madarame's shack.
Yeah, that was one that was done, but I think it's alright that it was done like that, to a degree.
Well, I'm actually thinking about it a bit more, and I feel like the need to go back to Madarame's shack is, at least symbolically, kind of important, because it is because of his Yusuke's worldview changing so sharply by realizing who Madarame really was. That is what is causing his art slump in the first place.
That's right, because at one point, literally, Yusuke calls Madarame sensei, and even he continues to say, like, why do I still call him that?
Mm-hmm.
Not like it won't make a difference because I bet Ren doesn't even have 3 proficiency.
Oh, stop it.
It's 4.
4.
It's 4.
I think you need near max, so...
Yeah,
No, it's
it's
only
close.
4.
It's 4.
It is 4?
It is 4. You need max proficiency for...
Oh.
Oh,
God damn it, Cole.
I have a feeling Nelson's just glaring at Cole right now.
Thank you. I needed to know that information. Thank you.
So now Dean and Cole are 2 for 2 on this shit.
Woo!
Wait a minute. Doesn't she have she has cameos in earlier episodes. Does that mean I'm safe?
No, we don't know her name.
Fine. I'm just going to see myself out now.
And the thing is, we don't want to say names of what they do and such until they're actually introduced, so... Oh my god, but nonetheless...
I hate you, Dean.
Now we just need Zachary and myself to make the mistake, and then it'll be even.
Oh, don't worry, Nelson. We totally know it's totally the newspaper club person.
I legitly died.
This is it. This is the podcast that breaks us.
It has to be the unlucky 13 one.
It has to be
my
13,
God.
and it has to involve Yusuke.
Yep.
But as I said, there really isn't. Here's the thing: there's only 1 or 2 major differences in this episode, and it's strange to think that way. It really is.
Okay.
Yeah,
that's not.
it is, but I'd argue that these differences are actually, or at least one of them, the one with Akechi, is actually a really big deal because we got a lot of content out of him.
Yeah.
We got more in this one episode about Akechi, in my opinion, or outside of his backstory, of course, than we did about Akechi in the entire game.
Yeah.
We actually got to see how he does his work.
Yeah, and this is kind of why
I think... Go ahead.
Sorry, this is kind of why we're going to need the spoiler bumper, because there's a lot more to be said on that. Anyways, Dean.
Yeah.
Real quick, let Dean and then you, Zach.
Yeah.
Yes, which I think is vital for Akechi because, I mean, you can tell from even in the anime that he is going to have a vital role no matter what, especially since he is against the Phantom Thieves. So something like this is extremely healthy for his character. And just so folks know who haven't watched the anime, or only watched the anime and not the game, this is pretty much the best that we've gotten out of Akechi, and it's outside the game.
Yeah.
Okay, and Zach, what do you want to say?
Okay. I have a question because I can't remember. That part of the anime where Ryusuke and Ren are fighting a shadow. I forget. Do you fight any shadows during Yusuke's confidants?
You do during the very
actually,
beginning.
Yeah, you do.
But instead of Kin Ki, I believe it was just a bunch of slimes.
Yeah, which was a weird change.
I'm okay with this improvement because Ren used one of my favorite personas, so I'm okay with that. I love Lamia.
No wonder I forgot about that fight then, since it's over literally in one turn.
Yeah, because Yusuke can knock them all down.
Yeah. What disappoints me the most about that whole fight is that there wasn't an all-out attack, which ended with Yusuke's closer. Because you can do that. There's 2.
Smooth moves.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I think we can actually leave the differences and comparisons at this point because there's not much else to say, and the biggest thing we want to talk about will be saved for the spoiler bumper.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think so.
So let's get.
And don't worry, guys. And don't worry, viewers. I'm pretty sure Nelson will leave like a timestamp when we stop talking about the spoiler.
Oh, definitely. You know me. I did it I did it during episode 4. So, anyways.
Oh, speaking of that. This episode just continues our running gag of fuck episode 4.
Or at least that final part of episode 4.
Yeah.
Wait, yeah. Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
It does?
Yeah, it does, because, again, I can't say it here. I have to wait for the spoiler bumper.
Oh, right. I have no
Right.
idea what you're talking about.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Right.
So you're an idiot.
Is that what we're talking about?
You're an idiot. But anyways, let's get into the final part. Well, at least for the non-spoiler area. And that is this a good episode for fans, and is this a good episode for the casual watchers? So, Dean?
Okay, so for casual watchers, those who do not have like any Akechi bias or anything like that, they'll probably get the most out of it in terms of like getting to know most of Akechi, as well as definitely out of Yusuke. I'm hoping, or I'm assuming, that a lot of folks are very interested to see in where Yusuke's confidant would actually have gone. So this is something that's great for them, especially since it's a very heartwarming story as well, especially the end, which is actually a very nice theme that attaches to the game as well. Mm-hmm. As for folks who have played the game before, if you hate Akechi, this is obviously the worst episode in the series because it actually humanizes Akechi.
Bastards.
And this episode is scum for that. But in all honesty, if you're like us and we wanted to see Akechi actually get some development, interaction, anything substantial,
and you know, an actual real confidant.
Yeah, a real confidant. As well as Yusuke's confidant being treated with respect, and having some nice curveballs here and there, and did some of the best scenes in there. Yes, this episode is great for you.
Yusuke, as always, continues to be saved by the adaptation.
It really does. It really does. Anyways, Cole?
He's killing it. Yep.
I think, okay, so, I think that casual watchers are definitely going to like this episode. That being said, I think they're going to be confused about why there is such hate for Akechi in certain circles, but I think they're also going to understand why the shippers love the two together.
You're welcome.
Well, okay. I think this episode that's somewhat reasonable, at least at this point, if you're only watching the anime, that you would ship Ren and Akechi together.
Please, people will ship them together just because of their hair.
Oh my fucking god.
That greasy hair.
Oh.
But basically, if you're a casual watcher, Yusuke's handled very well, Akechi is handled very well. There's really genuinely a lot of stuff to like here. Persona 4 fans, the ones
Persona
4.
Persona 4 fans are probably not going to like this episode because it's not Persona 4.
Yeah, this episode sucks.
Yeah, fuck this. We don't care about Persona 5. We don't consider it to exist. Okay. If you're a Persona 4 fan, please don't hate us. We're just being dummies.
This isn't
For context, I actually think Persona 4 is still my favorite in the series, even if I like P5 too.
I like
Same
P3
here.
a little more.
I guess this isn't Persona 4.
Stop it!
Anyway, Persona 5 fans, if you love Akechi and want to see more of him, you're going to love this episode. If you love Yusuke, you're going to love this episode. If you dislike or are indifferent to Akechi but wanted more out of him, this is going to probably satisfy you. And in fact, I will be honest, if we get an enhanced edition of Persona 5, I really do hope that the writers use this stuff from the anime as the base for it, because this was genuinely really enjoyable to watch. If you hate Akechi for reasons that are completely justified and don't want him to be more humanized or anything like that, you're probably not going to care about the episode.
Yeah.
Also, and if you don't like Yusuke, then you are messed up.
Wow.
Wow.
You are messed up because everyone loves Yusuke.
Well, I do admit I did one time read that someone hated Yusuke's confidant because he sounded like a pretentious art student.
Wait, what?
Yeah, I'm dead serious. The thing is, though, is that I actually find Yusuke's story to actually be one of the most relatable.
Yeah, it is. It super is.
Hey, Cole, just replace artist slump with writer's slump.
Oh God, you have no idea.
Writer's block. Totally.
Right.
So I will admit that I would never go into a church and make someone pose like the anguish of Christ.
Anguish.
Oh my god.
Hey, Cole, make Dan go into a church and post in anguish.
He and Cole will probably get thrown out.
Yeah, we'd probably get thrown out. Besides,
Yeah.
Dan's agnostic anyway.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
Yep.
Well, then again, I'm deist, so.
Oh man, we're getting all religious up in here.
Yeah, well, blame the church scene.
Like the church scene, indeed.
And
And
what
again-
did Ted say? Come on.
And
And if they didn't have the church scene, we'd probably be ranting about that.
yeah, probably. Anyways,
Yeah.
Zachary, what about you?
Pretty much what they said. Casual watchers, I think will like this episode a lot. And they'll definitely like it catchy because you know they actually humanize him. There's other stuff. As they'll probably like Yusuke as well. He's handled very well. As for fans of Persona 5, pretty much put everything that Cole said about Akechi and place it over here. Copy and paste it over here. And I think they'll also really like Yusuke as well in this anime, in this episode, I should say. And that's all I gotta say, except anguish.
As for me, casual fans I think will like this episode. In fact, I could see this being some of casual fans' favorite episode because, as we all know, Akechi is working with the police to find, to basically find the Phantom Thieves, and here he is interacting unknowingly with the leader of the Phantom Thieves. Hell, even working with him. It's an interesting dynamic because it allows you to see the differences in mindset, methodology, and otherwise between Akechi and Ren. It really is something interesting, and I think this might end up being a favorite among casual fans. For that reason alone, along with Yusuke's social link. So, Confidancy in this. Sorry, Confidant. I'm thinking about Persona 3 too much. Anyways,
Difference.
as for fans, I could also see this being one of their favorites. I don't think it will be the favorite episode for many fans, but I can see this being one of the favorites primarily because, like us, if you were looking for more out of Akechi from the game, this actually does a pretty good job in giving us more an insight into Akechi's police work life and otherwise, and even shows off the how the Phantom Thieves can handle corrupt adults without the need of mementos and otherwise. The only problem is this, though, is that I know some people have a massive disdain towards Akechi because of events that have happened in game and otherwise. And to that I could see, unfortunately, and I could see this episode kind of being left on the wayside by fans.
Yeah, I think that some folks who have that sort of disdain towards Akechi, towards that extreme degree, would probably just say, whatever, and just completely ignore it.
Admittedly, that disdain is not for unjustified reasons, especially when you realize how grounded in reality Persona 5 is.
Exactly.
It totally is, and it makes a lot of sense as to why folks would just be totally dislike Akechi for that reason. But I don't know, it's we dislike Akechi, but we managed to like it just fine.
Well,
I liked it just fine because I really just wanted to see more. I want to have a reason to both like Akechi, to feel bad for Akechi situation, and then hate him at the same time.
Yeah, especially since he is on the opposite end when it comes to the Phantom Thieves. He's trying to capture them. But basically, to put it very simply, I could see some people maybe not liking the episode because of that, but I still think Yusuke's confidency saves the episode for fans as well. So I think casual watchers are going to get a lot more out of this episode than fans. But if you're one of the people like us that wanted a little more out of Akechi's story from the game, I think this is going to be this will be one of the episodes I could see being a favorite. If not, Yusuke's confidency is still pretty well told, and I think people will like that. But
yeah, it's still a heartwarming message in the end as well.
Yeah.
But with that said, that now transitions us into the spoiler area. Now, before I actually get started with this, we will be talking about like a few things with Akechi, with the inclusion of Akechi in this episode, and this may spoil later parts that are going to be covered in the animation by using the game, the information, like using knowledge of the game that we know. So if you don't want to get spoiled, click to the time, like not click. Sorry, there's no annotations anymore, but go to the time.
YouTube.
Yeah, go go to the timestamp that I'm placing right now, and you'll be able to skip the spoiler part if you don't want to be spoiled. So we'll So if you're gonna skip all the way over there, we'll pretty much catch you at the very end of the video. For everyone else that's staying, 3, 2, 1. I really have nothing else to say, but holy shit, the inclusion of Akechi changes so much with the story.
Yeah, that was like the biggest concerning thing that I have for this, because I was wondering on how like this actually does relate to what he kind of does in the end, especially with Ren and Akechi basically having like differing ideals.
They're two sides.
Exactly,
they're two sides of the same coin. Like, they're two sides of the same coin primarily because of Akechi's lofty goal of justice and Ren's also lofty goal of justice. It's just that their methodology and reasoning for each one is different. But then again, Akechi has his own underlying reasons for why he does what he does anyways, which we did talk about this a little in episode 4, and just to go into it a little bit more, he just seeks admiration. Akechi just literally seeks admiration for the sake of from someone that doesn't even acknowledge him, basically.
Yeah, for someone that just wants to forget about him, pretty much.
Or who just doesn't friggin' care. But let's be honest here. As much as I hate to use the term, Akechi's essentially a domestic terrorist.
He really is. He really is. No matter how you slice it, like, Akechi's actions, as is said in the game and will probably be covered in the anime, Akechi is is the biggest reason for the mental shutdowns, and unfortunately, yeah, it's like that's the problem the game had. The game tried to make us empathize with Akechi, but here's the problem: I can't empathize with a murderer.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Because all we knew from pretty much in the entire game is that he was the main cause for like the mental shutdowns and with people basically going crazy.
And not to mention he was the reason for Shido gaining the power that he did by causing mental shutdowns or even arresting political officials. In fact, the guy that was with Kawanabe that was embezzling money, he was a political official.
Mm-hmm.
So it actually Sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, I'm still trying. I'm just trying to think of my words. So never mind. Keep going. Go ahead, Nelson.
But it basically plays along with the whole idea of, like, it actually subtly plays into the idea of Akechi helping. Because here's the thing: when that guy got arrested, that's when we first start seeing Shido talking about this country is starting to become unstable, and basically talking about him possibly taking up the mantle.
Yeah, and I gotta say this right here now. Having an appearance by Masayoshi Shido in an episode that focuses on Akechi is actually a really, 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 really genius thing if you know the game.
Yeah, exactly. It was a smart move.
Yeah, like my biggest problem with Akechi, and truth be told, my biggest problem with Akechi is that because his confidant is automatic, because you have so little time to hang out with him. And because Robbie Damon's voice acting just gives him that underhand of something's wrong, not right with this character, which for the record is actually really good voice work on Robbie Damon's part. It becomes so obvious that he's the traitor.
Yeah, and the thing is about with the way that they handled things in this episode is that they were actually on friendly terms and they were actually working together legitimately. So, because we don't have, like, any of the whole automatic stuff where, oh yeah, we just hang out for a bit, rank up, all that stuff, everything's all jolly good, at least with this, it would make the traitor actions actually feel more heartbreaking.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly, and it would actually work as the idea of Akechi and Ren having, like, similar being similar in a lot of ways. It's like, and not to mention, it'll make, like, here's the thing. When it eventually comes to terms that Akechi has to fight the Phantom Thieves, because it's gotta happen, it will actually work. It'll actually do a lot better of a job of making us empathize with Akechi's, like, you know, with what he's been through. Like I said, the game...
Well, we don't need to really empathize with him. We just need to be able to sympathize with him.
Sorry,
I mean, it's hard to empathize with a murderer.
Yeah.
Sorry, sympathize for him. Yeah, because here's the thing. I felt bad for him in the game. I won't deny that. But I was still thinking, like, very much outright, he's a fucking murderer. He had no fucking, like, you know, no fucking, like, nothing. He had no kind of qualms or otherwise with doing this. And he did all this for selfish reasons, too.
He did this because Daddy didn't love him enough.
Exactly.
Daddy didn't love him at all.
This is kind of this is kind of why I said if they were to add a confidency for Akechi and a real one in like an expanded version, I want there to be a, like, you know, us talking with Akechi, maybe hearing about his cases, maybe him opening up to Ren a little bit about his own life, because we hear about his mother only slightly in the game. I would love for Akechi to, like, maybe see Ren as someone he could trust and then open up to him a little more. Like,
yeah, in a way that actually feels natural, instead of, like, pouring a cup of coffee for him and then being like, so I'm a bastard child.
Exactly, like, and you know what? It'll actually make it work more and more, because Akechi does care for, like, at least the main character in the game. It's just that he's so clouded by his desires and everything else that he kind of just lets that take control instead of his, you know, his actual respect for the main character.
Another thing that I want to say is that it, like, I know that the game wanted us to have Akechi as a foil for Ren, Akira, whatever the hell his name is, Bob. But in the game, because there's no natural confidency with Akechi, it basically feels like I know him out of convenience rather than because I want to know him better. And because of that, the entire foil thing for me, it completely falls apart. Here in the anime, because we actually have them interacting with each other, actually talking with each other more about their ideals, their desires, which, goodness gracious, foreshadowing the quote-unquote good ending, nice job. I actually want to see what they do with that. What was I talking about again?
Yeah, because I did... Go ahead.
The anime makes it better. The anime makes me more convinced that Akechi really is a foil to Renkira.
See, there's the thing. It's like the reason why Morgana's like confidency being like progressed through story works is because Morgana is with you basically all the goddamn time. Morgana opens up to you far more than he does anyone else in the group.
This also totally makes sense for Igor as well, since you don't really hang out with him.
Yeah, exactly. But then again, this isn't Igor. Like, you know, he's basically trying to make sure that you realize, as he says, your full potential as a trickster.
Yep. But then again, Igor started progression because it's Igor. He's always started progression.
Yeah, well, not really. This is the first time he's been.
No,
this is the first time he's been a confidant in game.
Yeah, because a lot of the time it's in general. It's like the generalized idea is that it's the Fool Arcana or the Judgment Arcana.
Yeah, like the Fool Arcana usually ranks up through story progression because technically the Persona series is the Fool's journey.
Yeah, and basically the Fool Arcana is usually the group that you follow. So like in Persona 3 it's C's, and for Persona 4 it's the investigation team.
Okay,
but it's not the Phantom Thieves in Persona 5.
Yeah.
Which,
and just say something about Akechi real quick. Just to go off on something real quick. Hey Nelson, remember when you thought Ryuji was gonna be the traitor? When we played the game?
Wait, you thought Ryuji was gonna be the traitor?
I thought. Well, here's the thing. I thought about it in the base terms of what would the traitor want the most out of like selling out the leader. That was back when I first picked up the game. But as the game progressed further and further, I began thinking more critically in terms of why would someone want to betray the main character? And
yeah, man, Ryuji wouldn't do that. Ryuji wouldn't do that. He's the bro.
Like the game does try to make you wonder if maybe it's going to be Makoto when she has that line with her sister, but that's about it. Yeah. So arguably, Akechi being the obvious traitor is in order to hide the real betrayal.
Yeah, but that's what I'm trying to say. If the anime does a good job in like continuing this interaction between Ren and Akechi, it'll actually make the traitor reveal all the more like almost like really, because it's like, again, if they have Akechi open up to Ren that they both begin to trust each other and even treat each other as equals, it's gonna seem like, holy shit, like why? Like you actually seem like you genuinely like the guy.
Though I am very fearful that at some point they're just gonna do the whole. So anyway, I was a bastard child.
I doubt they'll do that. I feel like they'll try to. Well, here's the thing. If they do that out of nowhere at that point, I think it'll work a lot more because Ren and Akechi have had a lot more interaction with each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See,
I could actually see a scene in the future of when they're actually like having a cup of coffee together and they're pretty much like going over like what pretty much made them go on this path to begin with.
And the thing is, remember, Akechi literally says at one point, "I'm sorry, am I bugging you?" Like, because he feels like, you know, like he might be annoying you in some way. Maybe Akechi is, you know, talking about a case and Ren is preoccupied about things. And maybe, you know, that's where Akechi, like, feels like maybe he's getting on his nerves about this. Like, I could see that. Like, him, you know, continuing talking about cases and Ren's not really annoyed with him, but he's just preoccupied on something. Like, the angst glasses.
Glasses.
I'm just saying.
Which has thankfully not been around a whole lot in this episode, and the one time that they were, which was in the stinger, it was, I'd argue, very appropriate.
Yeah.
I don't know if you noticed, but it seems like they toned down on the angst classes.
Thank God.
They
must have finally gotten the budget to animate his eyes properly.
It makes me wonder if they'll have the budget out to animate his body all the way.
Oh God!
Oh, stop it! Anyways, is there anything else we want to cover on this before we end it off?
Crap. Something was on my mind. I'm trying to remember it.
Well, I'll say this real quick, just as a thing. If the anime continues this idea of Ren and Akechi interacting with each other, it's only going to make later parts of the animation that much more stronger, because it'll humanize Akechi, but also when the light is brought over to the fact that he's a murderer, it's going to cause a conflict of emotions for many people, and I think that's the best way to handle it, because it's like, yeah, Akechi seems like a really cool guy, but he's also a fucking murderer. It's like, how am I supposed to feel?
Oh, and don't forget, when it's revealed, and he does in fact, quote unquote, murder you. That was shocking in the game for one other reason. It's going to be worse in the anime.
Exactly, because it's like, here's someone that he respected and considered an equal, and he just flat out killed them, quote unquote.
Yep.
Oh, I remember what I was gonna say. In essence, you want to call why we said fuck episode 4?
Well, like I said, it's because of the fact that Akechi apparently interacts with the entire group at that point, talking about, oh, this is when I started first catching wind of your activities, and then showing off the actual complete Sayuri, and again, showing off the full group that's going to be in the Phantom Thieves.
Oh yeah, a friendly reminder that Akechi is the one who murdered Futaba's mother and sent her into a spiral of 2-year-long depression that almost resulted in her killing herself.
And killed Haru's father just for the sake of getting rid of someone that was going to try to rise into the political power and set up the Phantom Thieves as murderers.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's pretty much what's going to be the turning point for a lot of folks, especially when they realize, oh yeah, this Akechi's actually a nice guy. Too bad he did all this shit.
But the reason I was like, fuck episode 4 is because this is how you do the Akechi thing anime.
And again, the interrogation scenes are how you segue between targets and shit.
Oh, so other thing I want to say. If they continue like this, where they actually make Akechi likable, they continue like this, then would any of you be alright Akechi actually doesn't die.
Well, here's the thing. I feel like his death does have to be, well, his quote unquote death has to be a bit of a necessity. But I can see a situation where maybe he survives. I still kind of want that because it's at that point Akechi, you know, instead of following through on what he really wants, he does what he needs to.
I have to be honest. I always found Akechi's death to be kind of cheap because it means that he can't do what all the other Phantom Thieves victims did, and that's answer for his crimes.
Yeah,
that's true.
Basically.
That's true. That's true. But then again, he has a persona, so there's no way he would have a palace anyways.
Well, yeah, but not in terms of like confessing.
Not with that kind of atonement. I mean by the fact that I find death to be a cheap way out.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
exactly. I agree with that 110%. But this is why I'm saying I could totally see a situation where Akechi lives. Like, I literally said this to y'all in, like, you know, like a call we had a while ago. And guys, this is pure speculation. For those that are still in the spoiler thing, this is pure speculation on my end. But Akechi's death happening in Shido's palace, I still think should happen in game, but imagine that he doesn't die, but more is erased from the general public's cognition. I mean, we don't know what happens to a person when the palace disappears with someone in it. It's implied that if you're still inside the palace when it disappears, you basically disappear from cognition.
Elsa?
What?
Sorry, it's just you blanked out for a little bit. Can you start again?
Yeah.
Well, to summarize it, because the recording picked it up. Imagine this. Akechi didn't die per se, but he was just removed from the general public's cognition. And maybe have something like, you know, remember how I said that imagine there being like another palace?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like, imagine like Akechi being brought back for that one palace because of the group remaining cognitively aware of him. Because, you know, like Joker's in jail at the moment. Imagine him having to become the leader of the Phantom Thieves, at least for that one last mission. But after that palace is gone and the cognitive world is fully removed, Akechi disappears again. Like, that's his way of atoning.
Well, I was about to say, here's the thing, Nelson. I still want Akechi to atone for his crimes.
Well, there's no better way to atone than basically helping there's no better way to atone than by helping the ones that you tried to kill put an end to this for once and for all.
Like in the Mementos depths.
Well, yeah. In
Yeah.
the depths, or like I said, we never saw the scientists get arrested. So what if they tried to, like, you know, what if there was still something like a cognitive world that they still had control of? I mean, remember, we had something like that with P4 Golden, where a new dungeon was added with Marie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I guess I can see where that could probably come up. The thing is, with the way that Persona 5 is written, as well as how self-contained it is, I'm not sure on how that would be positioned, as well as how well it would have worked.
Yeah.
Well, that's kind of why I say
it's the only way that it would...
Well, I'm saying it right now.
Nelson.
Sorry, go ahead, Cole. Go ahead.
Yeah, well, like, the big thing is like, I could probably see the scientists creating a quote-unquote artificial palace, but because of the way Persona 5 is set up, Mementos disappears after Yaldabaoth's death. Whereas in Persona 4, the TV world continues to exist because it's technically considered part of the collective unconscious.
Yeah, unless they want to say, oh, I don't know, the Persona users, because they still have Persona powers, can now enter televisions.
But
I don't know if they're going to continue.
But here's the thing: if that's true, then Morgana in the game should have fully disappeared. He literally said it. The only reason I didn't disappear is because the group remained cognitively aware.
Yeah, but bear in mind that Igor himself did in fact create Morgana. So he would actually also have power over that too.
But remember, Igor created him with the last of the power that he had available to him at the time, and Morgana was created as a byproduct of the general public's cognition. Remember, yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. Like, so yes, Morgana should have disappeared with the cognitive world, but because the group remained cognitively aware of him, he didn't. He stayed. He stayed in the world because there's still people that consider him that still consider him a part of the world. this is kind of what I'm saying. Like, I could see something like this maybe happening in terms of Akechi, because again, the way I could see it being done is even after the cognitive world is destroyed. Remember, the scientists still have, you know, Wakaba's research.
Mm-hmm. And Wakaba was a cognitive scientist.
And
that's why I think that, so I can see the possibility of them trying to create an artificial palace.
Yeah, like try to create a palace that they can control, which can still allow them to control the general public in a different kind of way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think I can kind of see that as some way, but I think we're kind of stepping a bit more further into speculation territory than spoiler territory, and you're starting to break up again, so we might need to start wrapping this up.
Yeah, that's kind of why I said this is more of a speculation than it is anything else. But anyways, I think I'm a...
We spent more time in the spoiler section than I thought we would.
Well, that's because we had a lot to say, and honestly, I think I wanted to at least get this off my chest for those that might be interested. Again, what I said was full speculation. If something along those lines happened in the game, well, one, I'm gonna say I fucking called it, but another, I'm gonna be like, okay, I want to see how they handle it. But anyways, now we're gonna be leaving the spoiler section in 3, 2, 1. Hey guys, welcome back. If you skipped the spoilers, well, you're back with us now. If you didn't,
Nelson wouldn't shut up about his theories.
Oh, shut the hell up.
Yeah. Nelson had this great theory on how the most important character is the newspaper girl club.
Nelson went Matt Pax.
But that's just a theory. A game theory.
No, don't you ever compare me to someone like that. This is the guy. That's the same guy who tried to make the argument Overwatch is better than TF2 because all TF2 is deathmatch.
But don't forget that this is also the person who thought that Margaret was Elizabeth.
Oh yeah, that shitty fucking video.
It's also that's the same person that thought Sans was Ness.
Fucking off. Anyways, with that said, what do you think about our thoughts of the episode? Have a different opinion compared to us? Have found a comparison that we didn't talk about? Or maybe there was something in the spoiler chat that you heard about that you want to go further into? Go ahead and leave your comments down below and we'll discuss it in the comment section. Though I will ask this, if you're going to leave something spoiler related, at least put a spoiler warning for people so that that way they don't get spoiled as well. That's all I ask. Anyways, with that said, till next time, I'm Keen947, aka Wolfkeen, along with...
I am DMikami, says DM.3000.
This is FlOrangey, and I'm sorry, everybody.
And this has been Mario Fanboy 15, and the best character in Persona 5 is still the newspaper girl.
Dude, Atlas, expanded edition of Persona 5. Let us join the fucking newspaper club!
Yeah,
no, expanded edition of Persona 5... Bring back the character you cut because the story was getting too long. You have 2 more months to do it.
Yes, do it. Now. Anyways. Do it. I actually hurt my throat doing that. Anyways, till next time, guys. Take care.
Ness really is Sans.
Seriously, though. Fuck Akechi.